Good game.
It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye. That was always the mantra. But what about a game that helps people avoid losing an eye, a leg, or even their life? Somewhere on the east coast of Australia, a company is using a virtual simulation to do just that. They call it Virtual BattleSpace, or VBS2. So tell us, what do you do here?
We take computer games and modify them for serious use, be it the military or first responders like police and ambulance. We started several years ago now with a commercial computer game called Operation Flashpoint. That was sold in stores. I think it was Game of the Year in 2001, and we've added on layers of functionality to make it more suitable for military use. These layers of functionality include after-action review. So once the military users play through a scenario, they can watch what happened to work out if they did the right thing or the wrong thing. We added what's called HLA and disk compliance. This is the ability for VBS, or the computer game, to talk to other military simulations. We also added real-time editing functions. So the instructor in real time could do things like drop in an improvised explosive device, change the nature of the scenario without having to stop the scenario and then restart the scenario.
You won a contract to develop Loadmaster systems for the Australian Army. How does it all work, the virtual reality side of things?
Well, what you're seeing here is a modification of our desktop training software. So this is the Loadmaster Virtual Reality Trainer, also known as the Aircrewman Virtual Reality Trainer. And what Aircrewmen do, they actually instruct the pilot how to fly the helicopter when they're going slow and low. So Gordon here is immersed in virtual reality. He's wearing a virtual reality headset, and through that headset he actually sees the virtual environment. But everything that happens here, the gun movement and his head movement, that's all tracked in 3D.
It's multiplayer as well. Can soldiers actually train with other soldiers at the same time?
Absolutely. So it's a multiplayer game. You can have some infantry in there, so some soldiers. You can have some crew, maybe manning armoured vehicles like a tank or an armoured personnel carrier. You can have pilots flying aircraft, 50 or 100 soldiers sitting down, one at each computer, more or less playing together to achieve some training outcome.
So, Peter, can I have a go?
Certainly.
If you could give me one piece of advice before I start, what would it be?
Hold on.
Hold on?
Let's go.
Let's get immersed. Oh, well, that's disorientating.
So you're now in the aircraft. If you look to the left, you'll see the pilots.
They're ignoring me. I'm going to shoot this barn for no apparent reason. Take that. Which countries use VBS2 for training?
At the moment, either the Australian Defence Force, the US Marine Corps, or the United Kingdom Ministry of Defence. So it's more or less a worldwide operation.
This is pretty hard.
Yeah, well that's why they need to train on it.
Okay.
So you're shooting people on the ground from a moving helicopter.
Is that guy on my side?
None of the guys are on your side.
None of the guys are on my side? All right, that's all the information I needed. Let's go.
If they're going to go into Iraq, for example, they might ask us to build Baghdad. We'll create Baghdad virtually, and then they'll go and do their mission rehearsal within the game before they actually deploy in theatre.
And how close is it to actual Baghdad, what you modelled here?
We call it geospecific. For something like Baghdad Green Zone, which was about a 16-kilometre square terrain area, the roads and the rivers are in the right place. We're using satellite texture to map texture the terrain with. We might go down to individual buildings, so we'll do, for example, the Australian Embassy or Saddam's Palace if we're talking about Baghdad. So fairly specific level of detail.
At the end of the day, this happens in a very closed, clean and safe environment. How could this ever compare with firing a rocket at an actual Taliban insurgent, for example?
Well, the short answer is it just simply doesn't. And I mean, the key thing here is we're not trying to augment live training. So the soldiers still need to go out into the field and shoot their rifles, for example. But what we offer is a way to supplement their training, train them up in doing the correct procedures. So when it becomes that stressful situation in the field or actually in theatre, maybe they're going to react a little bit quicker than what they would have without that simulated training. Simulated training at the moment, it's not as realistic as real life, but we're working on it.
I think I'm on fire. Yeah, I'm on fire.
I think you're in a bit of trouble. I think your helicopter's about to explode.